Hello, I'm Jenice Armstrong, your host for Jenice Knows Philly. I'm excited to bring you a new concept to your computer screens. I'll be hosting a rotating group of guests who will be talking about everything from the upcoming Philadelphia mayor's race to those crazy British royals. And I'd love to hear from you. What hot topics would you like to see us discuss? Drop them in the comments below. Now, let's get to it. Today, I am joined by a powerful group of strong, opinionated women to discuss what we can expect in 2023. First off, we have my girl, Mindie Barnett, publicist, author, mom, and a therapist in training. Welcome, Mindie.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Next up, Danyl Patterson, an attorney, jet setter, and Philly girl extraordinaire. Hey, Danyl, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jenice, thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. And finally, we have Lindy Li, an MSNBC political commentator and one of the sharpest voices on Twitter. Hey, girl.
So good to see you, Jenice. So happy to be with you all.
It's great to have you. Let's get to it. Here we are, January. The Philadelphia mayor's race is in May. Isn't it quiet right now? I mean, aside from people leaving their council seats to run, I mean, what do you think? Who do you like? Who do you think is going to win? And what do you think of former Mayor Michael Nutter's possibly getting back into the race? What do you think? Danyl, why don't you start us off?
Well, it's 100 years of Philadelphia mayors, and they say it's the year of the woman. It's very, very interesting that what the race looks like right now. So I don't know. I don't bet on any races right now because I know all of the candidates, but I need to see what their platforms actually are. But I guess most interesting right now is Michael Nutter thinking that he's going to pull a Frank Rizzo and come back after having served 2 full terms. That's very interesting, especially when the issue on the streets of Philadelphia is violence and lack of safety. And if we know nothing else, Nutter did stand on that platform. So are we going to see stop and frisk again? Is he going to be able to find him another, Chief Ramsey? I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
That will be interesting. And just as a reminder, he has not declared.
No, it's just the trial balloon is out right now. The trial balloon is out right now as to who's going to do what. Right now, what it's looking like, the fundraising side of things is that, Jeff Brown has the edge. But we will see, because we know that Black women do band together, and we know that Black women sororities really do. So we're going to see what Sherelle Parker is able to pull together, what the unions are doing now without their, leader, Johnny Dock, and what fundraising looks like across the board, or whether or not Alan Dom's check is big enough to cash.
Well, can I say something on that score? Sometimes money just can't buy class, if you know what I mean. And I said what I said, and I'm a political fundraiser as well. So I get a lot of phone calls from some of the individuals that Danyl just alluded to. And I just want to say there's a manner in which to fundraise. You can't just say, can you come over and give me $3,000? And there's somebody in this race who has done that to me. If they're listening right now, you know who I'm talking about. That's not the way to go.
I'm listening, and I wasn't there, and I pretty much can guarantee who you were talking about.
All right. I think you and I are in the same wavelength. Yes. I don't want to snatch any wigs today, but my point is this. When you fundraise, you have to say, this is what I plan to do for Philadelphia. This is what I plan to do to reduce violence and serve the community. This is not just about you and raising money and raising a mountain of money. This is about you and what you plan to do for the city of Philadelphia. And if you're not a minority, if you're not Black, and Philadelphia is majority Black, what do you plan to do for the Black community? That is the number one question. And if you can't answer that effectively, I'm not interested in giving you $3,000.
I've asked the question directly.
Stop calling.
I've asked the question directly.
I think a lot of the in politics in general, I think sadly that that notion, Lindy, that you're sharing is so appropriate and relevant and righteous. And unfortunately, and I used to be a political reporter in my past life, in New Jersey at the State House, it gets lost. It's all about ego. Not always, not for everyone, but overall, it's a lot about ego. It's a lot about obviously handshakes and things like that. But at the end of the day, yes, you're serving your community, you're taking a job, and that's your job responsibility. So I fully agree with everything you're saying.
Well, can I just jump in here and tell you what my biggest problem with the race is right now?
Sure.
Is really that not just the lack of messaging, but also the posturing that really aren't about the mayoral race. They're really about next steps. And I just say that because we all know that it's not always who wins, because sometimes you can lose and still win. But when you start to look at who's really backing the candidates, and I'm sure you guys know exactly which candidate I'm talking about because of what's going on with Larry Krasner at the State House and what's going on here in Philadelphia and who's backing our local mayoral candidates, it gets very, very interesting. You start to wonder who really has those dogs in this race.
Yes, follow the money. Follow the money. Okay, speaking of politics, what's going on in Washington? Turns out that Biden has also had some top secret documents in office someplace that he wasn't supposed to have. Lindy, bring us up to speed with everything, including the special counsel that's been hired to look into this.
So let me just say on the special counsel score, Merrick Garland, God bless his soul, goes out of his way to appear nonpartisan. It took him months to appoint Jack Smith, special counsel overseeing the Trump investigation. It took him about 10 to 20 days to get one for Biden. So he goes out of his way to appear nonpartisan, but then he becomes partisan inadvertently by overcompensating and trying not to appear like a Democrat. So I think oftentimes he overcorrects himself. That said, I'm a Democrat, so I believe if you broke the law, if you violated the law, I'm not going to protect you. I'm not going to go on national TV to defend you. If you did something bad, then you should be held accountable. But that said, there are so many salient differences between the Trump case and the Biden case. Thus far, we have about 12 pages. With Trump, we have hundreds. Thus far, we have full and complete cooperation with the Justice Department. In the case of Trump, we have obstruction of justice and lying. And this kind of flew under the radar. But in December 2022, just a month ago, they were still finding, oh my gosh, it's thundering in Philly. Can you hear it? Anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's
just a month ago, they were still finding, I'm on the 44th floor, so it's really intense up here.
Careful.
Well, I mean, sorry.
They were still finding documents just a few weeks ago. Trump lied. He said he was done handing over documents. And so there were no nuclear secrets among the documents that were found in Biden's office. So this is not CIA intel, the stuff that we found over the summer. His house, Biden's house, wasn't searched because he fully cooperated. So there's so many distinct differences. But unfortunately, the MAGA brain isn't able to process nuance. And it takes some time, as you can see, for someone to explain the differences. And so Republicans are going to cater to the lowest common denominator. This is a gift to them. I'm sorry to say, but I'm also honest in my analysis. This is a gift to them. They're going to Benghazi the heck out of this.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying totally. And I definitely think there's completely no comparison between the two situations. My question really is, why did they wait so long, to come clean with the fact that these classified documents were indeed in another location? Like it was months ago this happened, and they just came to the forefront to share that it indeed happened, but it was known a long time ago. Why do you think that they waited?
Well, if you compare the timelines, Mindy, you bring up a good point. It's actually a month and a half versus a year and a half in Trump's case. So comparatively speaking, this is lightning speed.
Well, in actuality, the real issue is messaging. The Dems can never get the messaging together.
That's true.
And they let the MAGA hats just run awry and run away with it and message to death so that they can Benghazi it to death. And
I mean,
if you're going to get in front of it, you've also got to have the messaging right when you get in front of it. We can talk nuances all day. And I think anybody in their right mind that is not just absolutely partisan and, doesn't feel like they need to just storm the Capitol gates in the first place, can really see the difference between, 12 documents and 1,000 documents. And, if we have not learned since Nixon that it's not the crime, it's the cover up, I don't know what we have learned.
Good, great point.
That's a really good point. Yes. I just hope people remember that come election time, which is right around, which is not
They won't.
I know they won't.
They won't, because the messaging isn't there. Right. They need to call Mindy.
Exactly.
Mindy will get it right.
Okay. Specialty.
Okay, and let's talk about the big news in this world.
Oh my gosh!
You got the copy yet? Your copies of Spare?
I listened to it last night. Sure did.
Roving?
Oh yes, gosh. I did, baby. I was ready.
I actually used to have a British accent, believe it or not, but then the American kids teased me out of it. I'm from Sheffield, England.
Wow.
This really hits home for me. I saw the Queen once on the street. We were just passing by. Yeah, I saw her.
Did you curtsy?
I was like 4 years old. I had no conception of what was appropriate. I just looked at her. It was really cool. But Harry is right. What he said on that British TV show, ITV, was absolutely true. He said, everyone here knows where they were the night my mother died.
Yeah.
And I was 5 or 6. I know exactly where I was. I was in New Haven. I was on the stairs. And I was like, oh my God, my princess died.
You're 5 or 6. I was working already. I'm gonna cry.
Mindy, I was here.
But you still look good, girl. You still look good.
Mindy, you look like you're mine.
Thanks. You should do a whole show on that. No, I'm not kidding.
Not how old you are, baby. It's how you look.
I think that Prince Harry is trouble. I think that Spare is obviously how he sees himself in his family system. I clearly has, a lot of deep-seated issues with his brother and his role in I guess the alignment of the throne and all of that. I know I had not read the book. I've read a little bit about the book. I downloaded the book today on Audible. I'm going to listen to the book while I'm driving back and forth. But to that, he basically gave the anecdote as apparently there was like 2 planes, and his father and King William were not able, well, soon to be, I guess, one day, right? Were not able to be on the same plane at the same time. So they would have 2, but nobody, quote, cared which plane Prince Harry was on, which one he was on. And that, I think, obviously he recognized that at age 5 or something like that. So that stuck with him. And I think the media, obviously, et cetera, has put a lot of emphasis on Meghan and making her sort of like the bad seed, so to speak, in the pair. And this book clearly shows that that's not necessarily the case, that it was really, she probably kind of like orchestrated, it was this, quote, ticket out of the royal family. I guess my question is really, if he really has so much bitterness toward his family, why is he keeping the title prince? If he wants the exit, why doesn't he just completely separate himself? I personally,
because I earned it. I earned it with a lifetime of they shenanigans. Okay, you're not.
He actually answered that question, Mindy, darling. He actually answered.
It really is. It's a part of his identity. He earned it. You don't
get
his
birthright. It's his birthright.
He went on Anderson Cooper and said, "What difference does it make?" That was his answer. He said it doesn't, wouldn't change anything.
They would have to drag it.
I know that if people get divorced, they drop their married name, or you know what I'm saying. I know it's not a complete fair comparison, because that's something that you may have, quote, had for X amount of years versus your life. But sometimes people have children involved, and then they have a different name. And I think he wants that connection.
But Mindy, can I be more forthright than you? You're nicer than I am. Let me be more explicit.
Yes.
I mean, it's bankable as hell, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
So why give that up?
Right. But
there's no incentive. They're even invited to the coronation as of now. The invitations haven't been rescinded. So that's another opportunity for them to be on the international stage. It's actually so interesting that you can see that their approval rating is plummeting in the United Kingdom. Harry went from 70% to like 23. And Meghan is like 23. But the approval rating for the royals haven't really changed. So according to The Guardian, I was reading about, The Guardian is, not a tabloid, but they were saying that Spare hasn't actually changed the perceptions of the royals because everything has been baked in.
Well, I don't think that it's about changing the perception of the royals for the British. It is about changing the perception of the royals for the rest of us. So I don't. That book is not for the British. That book is for the Americans. That book is for book is for all the little girls and the grown women who watch all the Hallmark Christmas movies who think that it would be so great to go get a prince and now go, not so much. Because see, in the Hallmark movies, you go get the prince that pretended like he wasn't a prince, but it's always some obscure country like Mongolia that nobody ever knows what it is. So you can walk around like, and then all of a sudden, then you're thrown into it and you're able to really change it from the inside out. But that's because you was, now the prince or the queen of Mongolia. You were not the prince and the princess of, Britain, some of them, literally one of the wealthiest families. I think they're number 19 wealthiest
$1 billion
in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. So, I mean, it is very, very interesting. And especially when you're just talking about, and I'm always going to just give you the perception from Black Americans, we hate all the royals because y'all colonized all of us and your imperialism ruined all of us and are the reason that, the slave trade did what it did and the reason that Africa couldn't thrive and the reason that y'all are over there stealing our natural resources.
And their tiaras, where do you think they got the crowns?
Yes.
And the
True. Also,
William
William said he owned Africa in that book.
Yes.
I'm not British, for the record.
Yes. Yes. So, I mean, so sadly for us, I'm just going to tell you, me and my girlfriend been talking about it. It's like good for them. Here's the come up. We love it. We love the come up.
Isn't it wonderful that it's a biracial woman, a woman whose mother is an African American, and is who's doing it? I say the ancestors are dancing in heaven. They're like, yes, Meghan, yes, yes. I mean, you couldn't make this up in fiction.
And I love that she always is channeling Princess Di Girl, okay?
And she's always got her mother with her too.
Lay her to rest. She showed up looking like Princess Di and damn near in a revenge dress. I was like, you go, girl, work it, bring the hat.
Are you and I thinking of the same picture outside of the cathedral? Oh my gosh, she dressed to kill that day.
I was like, bring it, baby, bring it. That's right.
I'm talking about, right? With the black hat and everything.
Yeah.
You know what's really crazy is when I see Americans trying to jump on board with the British and dog Meghan Markle, like as if she did something wrong. I'm like, yo, why are you trying to curtsy to the Queen and such? We fought a war so we wouldn't have to do that anymore. She's doing this in proxy for all of us, And it really troubles me when I see Americans like, oh no, she should be over there bowing and stuff. I'm like, really?
But you know what I did see? I just came back from
so.
Barbados and they had just celebrated their 1 year as a republic. Literally, the parade was the day before. And they was over there, basically dancing on the grave of the King Queen of England and how they were so glad to be out from underneath the colonialism and how much they hate the possibility of a King Charles and the fact that they don't like the fact that the home wrecker get to be a queen now. So I was like, I was all in it. I was like, oh, really? It definitely was reality TV Barbados style.
I'm with you, girl. This is 2023. We have no more room for a monarchy. I'm sorry. This is just, they have a special bloodline, quote unquote. They're superior to us. I mean, come on.
I agree with that.
Is hairless
Look at them. They're clearly not superior to
all
anybody.
The rest of us?
I've never been one for the royals personally. I mean, I liked Princess Diana. I liked more what she did for those who are underserved and her humanitarian ways.
Social progress.
Like that. I did. But I was younger and I wasn't as obviously well read and certainly, growing up, but the rest of them, no, I'm not really, I've never, and I just speaking from the headlines with him, with his book, etc. And as a psychology major, or sorry, not really major, I'm earning my clinical psychology degree, my master's.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's really interesting. Thanks. I think from a psychological perspective, it's just very interesting how he clearly is suffering, in that way. And he just has like a platform and tools to be able to articulate it in a very loud way that Others may not, obviously.
Yeah, I really don't want to hear about his codger anymore. I do want to say that. No, too TMI, too many details.
Well, I don't know. I couldn't believe that he fell for that Hitler dress up like a Nazi. Like, so it just tells me that he doesn't actually process information either. Like, so
yeah, I agree with you.
Like, so they told you that so women, your two choices were to dress up in the army, in your military Air Force gear, or dress up like a Nazi. And so you listen to the people telling you dress up like a Nazi. So I'm trying to tell you that it makes me think that, maybe he did do too much drugs when he was, in high school, and because he told us about them, and, or maybe, his penis was still itching from when he had the Estee Lauder cream on it with the sunburn. I don't know. Maybe that's I said that he is the definition of when they said you got to tell it all. Like, he was here. He was giving confessions like he was Usher.
I think of Diana, though. I love Diana. I got to see her once when I was a young reporter, and I heard she was out someplace, and I ran over, and there she was, shy-eyed with her head sort of hanging. The one thing that I always sort of observed of her as a young mother, she seemed like she really was into being a mother, and she really loved her kids. I know it must hurt her soul, if she could look down from heaven and see her sons warring like this. I know that's gotta tell her. I'm sorry to see the brothers split. I hope they find their way back to each other. But I love seeing the monarchy crumble. I mean, look at
I like to see spirit.
Adulterer. I
like to see Diana's spirit living on, though, because I think when she was alive, they didn't appreciate it as much because they were jealous of it. They really were. They were jealous of her popularity with the people, and to see Harry, that joy. He had Diana's joy, and he still has it. And I like to see that part of her living on. Plus, it's good to know that somebody in that family is good looking, because we got to do something about the royal genes, literally.
Oh my goodness. I was actually just saying this to somebody. You would think with all that money, okay, $1 billion in real estate holdings, you think he would afford it? And I looked it up. I looked it up for Prince William. I looked it up for his sake. Getting hair plugs, just $20,000.
So he could get a hair
the money and do it. You look. I don't want to say it, but you really should do something. I don't understand. You can afford it. Why not get it done? Joe Biden got it done.
He likes to do organic.
My crown is going to cover it. When I get that crown, it's going to cover the whole thing. Is what he's probably banking on. I don't know. Maybe this will all be gone by the time the crown passes on to him, because it looks bad. Great Britain. This is a bad look.
You don't like to see families brawl no matter what, right?
No, and this man, after what happened with Diana, the way he and his queen consort to be, or whatever they're going to call her, after what they did with Diana and played with this woman's life and everything, I think it's sad, and it's time for the whole institution to go. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, let's move on to the next hot topic. Okay, this is from a video that I saw on Twitter that went viral. There was this woman on a date, and she was waiting in a restaurant, and her date shows up an hour and a half late. So when he arrives, she decides she's going to get back at him. How? But she's going to order some meals for her kids to take with her. 2 takeout meals. So the guy who's her date's like, whoa, who are you ordering for? How old is your son? And she says, my son's 8. He goes, I'm not buying a steak for an 8-year-old. No, I'm not going to do it. And they had this big back and forth. And the internet has been divided as to who was right and who was wrong. So I'm curious, what do you ladies think?
The guy was an hour and a half late. I mean, come on, that is unacceptable. I get pissed. My boyfriend's like 20 minutes. He would never be 20 minutes late. That's that's outrageous in our world. Have a little bit of respect. Time is the most valuable thing you can give anybody.
Mm-hmm. But what do you think about? Should he buy her the meals for her kids to make up for it?
No, so this is where I am with it. Not only was he an hour and a half late and disrespected her, he cut into the date time. I mean, if you're a single mom with 2 kids at home, not only is it valuable time, it's time that you took away from those kids. She could have been giving them to them, and that she was getting ready for that date for hours. So I'm not going to be out having steak and lobster, and my kids are home eating chicken nuggets. So you can talk about something, you're not going to give them a steak, but I'm going to tell you right now, my bonus baby eats what I eat. So when I eat lobster, he eats lobster. So if I'm out on the date that done went too long, guess what? He getting the same steak that I had. And I ain't talking about my leftover, because you know what? I'm going to eat all of it just to spite him, because you know what? You know, they say you're supposed to be dainty on a date, but I would be totally disinterested in him. So I'm going to get me the 20-ounce ribeye, and I'm going to eat all of it. And I'm going to make sure that I take one home, because you don't get to disrespect me like that. You showed, and I'm going to show you that I'm the wrong one to play with. That's just what it is.
And I would just have left. I wouldn't have stayed the hour and a half because my time's more valuable than that. And I would have gone home, or maybe ordered takeout and brought it to my kids. And
I probably would have still been sitting there eating.
That's the thing. Because he doesn't love me. If he's
like, I wouldn't even known that he was an hour and a half late, because I probably would have already sat there and just went ahead and ordered me a bottle of wine and had my steak, because I can date you all day long. Okay, I am my best date. So, okay, now you sat down, because I probably, if it was me, I would have already ordered that takeout for my kids. And then when you sat down, oh, he got it. He got it. Oh, you showed up. Thank you. And then you pay, and I'm out. Give me my takeout bags.
Yeah, I think all our lives we've been taught to be docile and submissive and just to take it. But I think in the past year, I don't know about you all, but I have been purging toxic individuals from my life. And, you know, we should wake up more and choose chaos and tell people how we actually feel about them. Yeah. And tell them if somebody tell them if they pissed us off, because I'm sick and tired of being silent. Okay. I'm not going to let you slap me around and then be nice to you. It doesn't work like that.
I can't imagine anybody slapping you around. Lindy, I can't imagine.
Slapping me around?
No, I can't imagine.
I actually, you know, I wasn't expecting to say this, but now that I'm in the public eye, people just like lie about me, like out of thin air. Like, usually lies are based on figments of truth, right? There's some semblance of reality. But when you just lie out of nowhere, what the hell do I do with that? And I can't respond to make you famous, right? I just got to ignore it. There's something called the Streisand effect. If you respond, you amplify it.
They want to get you upset. And then probably because of what you speak about, there's unfortunately.
It's not even like, even Democrats sometimes I'm shining. I'm going to keep shining. And to piss you off even more, I'm going to shine even harder. There's nothing you can do. I'm untouchable. There's nothing you can do to bring me down. I hope all the women who are listening feel that way. And it's not just about being in the public eye, but also in your family. Hold that line. Don't be a doormat. Boundaries, something I learned this past year, boundaries don't break relationships. They enable relationships to continue. Mm-hmm. We got to have them. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge therapy fan.
Well, how about you, Mindy?
We all are. We all
have a different personality.
Like a therapist in training, I fully agree with you.
I'm proud of what you're doing. Thank you. We need more therapists, good therapists like you.
Hey.
So, what are you planning to leave behind in 2022? Let's do a lightning round, and let's just go around and in a couple of words, just tell me what you're going to leave behind, and I'll go last. All right, Mindy, since you're the therapist, you go first.
For me, I'm trying to leave behind the unfinished business of drama. Anything that's caused me upset, or we're friendships that don't serve me anymore, relationships that went sour, that I still have a thread of something to hold on to. I'm just trying to sever, let that go, and move on in my peace of harmony. That's what I'm aiming for this year.
That's great. How about you, Danyl? What are you leaving behind in 2022?
I already left it, and that is the need to promote a false sense of humility. I am fabulous. I walk in it. I own it. Wow. I do not need to pretend to be less fabulous to make you more comfortable.
I love your energy.
I am tired of attempting, and it's false, because I know I'm fabulous, and I feel fabulous, and I look fabulous.
You are
I'm fabulous, but I try to make other people feel better in themselves by pretending like I think I'm less fabulous than I am.
Don't shrink yourself.
I'm going to own this right here.
I have to say this. You remind me of Beyonce's song Formation. You embody that song.
Thank you.
Are we allowed to use profanity on here or no? I don't want to get anyone in trouble.
Let's keep it clean. It's a family.
Okay, I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to leave it blank. At the end of Formation, she said, you know that you're that B when you pause all that conversation. Revenge is your paper. Right. So you remind me of that. You embody that energy and spirit. So.
Wow.
Thank you.
And by the way, coming from me as a huge Beyonce fan, that's the highest of compliments.
Well, thank you.
So, Lindy, what are you going to leave behind?
Well, I'm going to stop reading my comments, really. I'm going to read the top few because Twitter is good enough to, at the very top, the comments aren't bad, but the Republicans just spew racist shit at me. And it's not just Republicans, sometimes Democrats as well. I'm just going to stop. You know, I'm nearing about like.
You never read the comments. I thought that was like journalism.
It's like
this is what happened with me and my book reviews, Lindy. I used to get like great ones and bad ones, and you get upset, and like people were like, some were fake, I think, because they were like really attacking me, not necessarily the book. You have to just like.
But it's just like I'm nearing 300,000 followers on Twitter, and so I have thousands of people at me throwing thoughts at me every single hour, and I'm gonna read the top few and just let the rest, because Republicans cannot have free real estate in my mind. I'm not going to see that territory to them. And Trump allowed all the racists to come out of the woodwork. And I'm not going to also, not just Trump and Republicans, but I'm not going to be nitpicked out of my piece. My piece is way too valuable, you know? And I just read something fantastic yesterday. If it costs you your mental health, it's way too expensive.
Absolutely.
So you can be at me all day long. You can throw obscenities at me all day long, but I'm not going to hear it. Just keep doing. You can just keep screaming into the abyss, but you're not going to dim my shine, like Danyl just said.
I like living rent free in people's heads.
What about you, Jenice?
What did you say, hon? I couldn't hear you.
I said I like living rent free in people's heads.
What do you mean by that?
There are people who are always going to have something to say about you. There are people who just can't seem to keep my name out their mouths. And so I just live rent free in their head. And, you know, which is why I'm owning my fabulous, because that's why I live rent free in their head. So,
but we're not going to let them do it the other way around. They're not allowed in our minds.
You're not going to take up your space.
Exactly. The moment that you let them piss you off, they win. So just don't even.
Well, I mean, my whole.
And by the way,
I'm very worried about gray hair and wrinkles, so I can't be doing none of that.
Exactly. Skincare, by the way, Jenice, you asked us what we're going to purge. What we're going to bring in is a renewed commitment to skincare.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to add to one thing that I said. Someone above you won't be punching down. So there's a reason someone's punching at you. It's because they want what you have.
Yes, and my father.
They're jealous. Yeah, they totally.
Yes, my father used to always say when I would go to him and complain about this little girl said this or this little girl said that, and he'd say, "The birds always pick at the ripest fruit." And as a kid, I know what he's talking about.
I love that.
The birds always pick at the ripest fruit. So
where are you going to leave behind there and move forward with, Jenice?
I'm going to leave behind the drama. I'm leaving behind family drama, friendship drama from people who don't like what I write or whatever. I'm leaving it all behind.
By the way, I love what
today is Mary J. Blige's birthday, so
you're
going to leave all the hateration and holleration in the dancery.
Oh, yes, I'm going to leave it behind.
I love that you just quoted Mary J. Blige. I love that.
Today's her birthday.
Listening to the same music.
It's her birthday for real?
Yes.
All right.
It's her birthday?
Yeah, I have a friend who puts the calendar up every day, so I wake up to that at 5 a.m. every day, where she tells us whose birthday it is. So she told me it was Mary J's birthday. So and then she just, Jenice just told me she was having no more drama. So I just had to let you know we leaving all the hateration and holleration in the dancery.
I love that. By the way, Mary J. Blige sings one of my favorite songs ever, "Be Without You." Mm-hmm. That song is just, it's like, it's perfection.
I was definitely into the dark child years of Mary J. Blige, so I get it.
She's just fantastic. I love her.
I love her too.
What about 2023? What have you got planned for 2023? What are you looking forward to?
Well, actually, I was going to help the Biden campaign, actually. We'll see. I'm sorry. We'll see how everything goes. Mm-hmm. It's just, we can't afford to let our country fall into the hands of Trump again or his replacement, Ron DeSantis. This is just, there's too much at stake. Right. The Ku Klux Klan has rebranded itself as MAGA.
I think.
Right. Oh, and Mindy, you were talking. She said something really interesting. You said the Ku Klux Klan has rebranded itself as MAGA. Mm-hmm. Whoa.
I fully believe that. Mm-hmm. I thought I was safe in this country until Trump came along.
How backwards we've all gone. Like, not us, but like our country in general.
Our society.
Yeah, I'm an immigrant. English is my second language. Mm-hmm. I was born in China. I lived in England and I came here. I thought the racism was over in middle school. The childhood taunts. No. Trump made racism okay again. He didn't make America great again. He
So
made racism.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I'm gonna just disagree with that because I've been Black and I've been in this country my whole 40 plus years. And I'm gonna tell you, I never thought the racism was gone. I just thought that it was repressed because they knew they couldn't say that out loud, but they thought it and they treated you like it. Now they just say it. And kind of, I actually feel a little bit better about the fact that they just say it because
you feel better about that?
I don't have to worry about, who would hang me from a tree if given the opportunity. I know.
Hun, I didn't mean to say it was gone. I just said it was like suppressed and in the woodwork. Now they're all coming out in droves.
Yeah,
they think that they're emboldened by
whatever
it.
they want to
no shame, and there's no shame in their game. Like, did you hear Sarah Huckabee? She's the new
governor.
The governor is the new senator. What's she?
Governor of Arkansas. She's the daughter of Mike Huckabee.
She won her dad's seat, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. So she has banned the use of the term Latinx. And
why?
I
didn't hear this. Why?
What is it? The what?
She
the term what?
The term Latinx, which is a new term that sort of doesn't mean male or it's not Latino or Latina. It's like gender neutral. And she's basically banned that along with the teaching of critical race theory, as if they're teaching critical race theory to children anyway in Arkansas or any place else. But it's just ugly, this whole vibe.
I'm going to say this. I mean, Bucks County just did it the other day. Their school board just determined that, there's to be no political commentary at all amongst the students or the teachers, no signs of any kind. And I actually sat and I listened to those hearings, and the thought process from one of the school board members was, well, I don't really have a problem with them, having their LGBTQ flags and things. But, if you let them, you do that, then somebody's going to bring something really offensive like a Black Lives Matter flag. And I was like, oh, okay. But in Bucks County down the street. So, y'all worried about Arkansas. I'm worried about Bucks County because it's down the street. And, there's that.
Should I say it or should I say it? We have.
I don't know what it is. So go for it.
We have the mummers. They were flying "Let's Go Brandon" flags down my street. Mm-hmm. Like down my street in Center City. So this is Danyel's perfectly right. We don't have to go to the backwaters of America to find this. This is happening in our own backyard. And can I just say, this is too good to not mention, okay? Yesterday, do you know what they did in Missouri? Republicans are trying to ban arms. Like arms, not arms, like literal arms. They're trying to ban women from showing their arms.
In Missouri?
In Missouri. You saw that? So these are people who are obsessed with banning like literal guns, but now women, they're trying to stop women from wearing short sleeve shirts.
Because they have to police our bodies because
I kid you not, this is actually happening.
This
is the same state that produced Josh Hawley, who ran like a headless chicken through the Capitol after inciting the terrorists with his Hitler fist. So
it's Taliban-esque, if you ask me.
Exactly. So and my term is Talibangelicals. I also have the term Al-Qaeda.
Oh, Al-Qaeda. Okay, so what are you looking forward to?
Did we get to the part where we're going to move forward, though?
Yes. Yeah, so what are you looking forward to? One of the things I'm looking forward to in 2023, getting out more. I've spent the last couple of years working from home in this office. The Inquirer is 100% remote right now. We're going into our new office sometime in the next few weeks, maybe the next month or so. But even so, there's not going to be space for everybody. But they're expecting us to come through maybe once a week. Well, I'm kind of looking forward to that, getting out a little bit more, seeing folks a little more, and doing a little more. Even though the new variant, I can't even remember the name of it, is out and about. And I keep hearing from people who are getting sick, and we were walking around with masks on here just in case. Here inside the house. I'm looking forward to getting out more. How about you guys? What are you looking forward to in 2023?
Well, for me, I am actually looking forward to increased presence. And I don't mean presence as in going to things. I mean to be fully in the moment, to enjoy life as it's coming at me, to enjoy everything that has been coming to fruition around me that I've been working for so hard for so long. We get so wrapped up in the trying to make things happen that when they're happening, we don't enjoy them. So I want to fully enjoy them. Plus, I want to travel a lot more. I always want to do that.
That's true. For me, I kind of piggyback what you're saying. I have that same notion this year. Also looking forward to being slightly less stressed. I'm trying to take things a little bit more in bite sizes as opposed to one big chew. And I also, because I have children, really want to be a little bit more present with them when I'm able to, because they're growing up so fast. And I know I'll be sad one day that I've been fully focused on other things. Not that I'm not focused on them, but
blink and you miss it. They grow up so fast.
Yeah.
How about you, Lindy?
I think I'm living by the mantra: if it's not an F yes, it's a no. You know, if someone invites me to do something and I'm not really excited about it, forget about it. Jenice, I had to say yes to you, but my default is no. I just don't. If you don't get me excited, I'm not going to waste my time, because if you say yes to everything, it devalues each of your yeses, right?
I agree with that.
And
I like
also,
that too.
Also, the same holds true with my friendships. I have 2 or 3 best friends. They call me, I will drop everything to help them, but I'm not going to have like 20 of them. And it devalues each of my friendships if I do that. So I'm going to invest my heart and my soul in these people. But I'm in politics, so a lot of people use me. It's just a matter, it's just fact. And so I know that there's tit for tat and quid pro quo. So I'm also very wary of that. I have very extreme trust issues, but again, it's just if it's not a very enthusiastic yes, spare me.
Then it's an absolute no. I'm not doing it.
I
like it. I like it. Was the discussion with you ladies. Thank you so much, Jenice, for having us here. Thank you to the Inquirer and the folks out there who were listening and watching, because this was really enjoyable.
Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully, ladies, you can join us again.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. It was like a therapy session.
And I hope everyone watching from their computer screens enjoyed this as well. I enjoyed hosting it. Once again, I'm Jenice Armstrong, and this is Jenice Knows Philly. Thanks for watching, and until next time.